Alien beasts witnessed the torture of the human girl. Then 15 minutes later, all hell broke loose. The room stank of metal, fear, and old blood. A single light flickered overhead as Celine hung from chains bolted to the ceiling. Her wrists bled, her legs buckled beneath her, and her voice had long since gone hoarse from screaming. The aliens surrounding her didn't care. They were Varniks, towering and reptilian, with yellow skin like cracked sandstone and no eyes, just slits that sense heat. They laughed in shrill hisses as the shock rod cracked against her back again. "She'll break," one said, tapping the device to recharge. "They all do. She's lasted longer than the last batch," another grumbled, tail twitching. "Still screaming. That's rare." Celine's body trembled, but she refused to scream this time. She'd been a prisoner on their warship for days, captured during a routine border patrol near the edge of known space. The others in her squad had died quick deaths. She was entertainment. Only one being bore silent witness to it all. Caged across the chamber, chained to the wall with reinforced alloy bindings, was Korik, a creature of war. He wasn't one of them. He had been captured from the death moons of Seldar, an apex predator bred in a place that knew only violence. 7 feet tall, his body was thick with muscle and plated hide, claws like obsidian blades, eyes like molten gold. And yet, he was quiet. He watched. He watched as Celine was beaten, as they mocked her, as they tore her uniform and left bruises across her ribs. He had watched many humans die in this chamber, but this one was different, because when Celine collapsed, barely breathing, she looked at him through blood, sweat, and fear, and whispered, "Help me." Just that. No begging, no pleading, just a request, a hope, and that was enough. Exactly 15 minutes later, all hell broke loose. It started with a snap. The guards heard it, but didn't understand it. The binding alloy holding Korik had fractured, microscopically, from weeks of stress. One link weakened, and then came the sound of metal tearing. Korik ripped the chains from the wall with a guttural roar that shook the chamber. The 2 nearest guards barely had time to turn before he was on them. Claws slashed, tearing one Varnix in half. The second tried to run, but only got 2 steps before a jagged piece of broken chain pierced his spine. Blood sprayed across the walls, red mixed with yellow ichor. Celine's head lolled up, eyes blurry. She thought she was hallucinating. The beast wasn't in chains anymore. He was a storm. The other guards stormed in, weapons raised. "Stun him. Stun!" Korik grabbed the first weapon by its barrel and crushed it with one hand. He flung the owner across the chamber. The Varnik slammed into the control console with a sickening crunch. Electric bolts lanced into Korik's chest from 3 directions. He snarled, stumbling to a knee, but then roared back to his feet and charged. Bodies flew. Screams echoed. A red emergency light bathed the chamber in pulses. Somewhere above, alarms began to blare. The warship's command deck noticed something was wrong. Celine tried to move, but her legs failed her. Her arms hung numb from the chains. Then Korik stood before her. His chest heaved with every breath. Blood soaked his claws. Behind him, nothing moved, just carnage. He looked at her, just as she had looked at him, and reached up with a grunt. He snapped the chains holding her up. She collapsed into his arms. He didn't speak. Couldn't. His kind had no voice the way humans did. But she felt what he meant. You are free. You live because you asked. They didn't run immediately. Korik carried her, first to the medical hold, where he kicked open a supply crate and laid her gently on the cot. He didn't know human medicine, but he placed all the tools and sprays beside her. She did the rest, fingers trembling, while she treated her wounds. He paced, guarded. More Varniks came. He killed them all. Celine, dazed, watched him protect the door with animal precision. No weapons, just claws, strength, and a fury she could barely comprehend. When the door finally burst under the weight of 6 shock troopers, he didn't hesitate. He leapt, tackling them with such force they crumpled like tinfoil. It wasn't a fight. It was a massacre. By the time Celine could stand, leaning on a crutch made from broken rifle parts, the warship had entered full lockdown. The Varniks were preparing to self-destruct the lower deck. "Come on," she rasped, reaching for him. "We need to get to the hangar. There's got to be a shuttle." Korik touched her shoulder gently, then nodded. Together, they ran. Through corridors slick with blood and smoke, past sparking panels and gutted bulkheads. They moved like shadows. Twice, they ran into squads. Korik handled them. Celine once managed to fire a stolen blaster, hitting a guard in the neck. The recoil nearly dislocated her arm, but Korik saw it and gave her a slow nod. Acknowledgement. Respect. At last, the hangar. Empty, except for one old dropship. Celine lunged with controls. Come on, don't be dead." The lights flickered. Then the engine hummed. She laughed, wild, disbelieving. "Let's go." Korik hesitated. She turned. He looked at the open bay door, toward the stars, and then at the wreckage behind them. The Varniks were not dead. More would come. They'd hunt him. Hunt her. If he went with her, it would never stop. Celine swallowed. "You saved me." He tilted his head. "I can save you too." She extended a hand. Not begging. Just like before. An offer. A hope. Korik stepped aboard. The shuttle disappeared into the stars just as the lower deck erupted in flame behind them. 2 years later, Celine stood beneath twin suns on a remote planet no one ever cared to chart, a place she and Korik had carved into a refuge. She had a limp, scars, nightmares, but she had a home. Korik stood beside her, watching the horizon, a silent sentinel, her protector, her friend. The warship never reported her escape. The Varniks buried the incident under containment failure. No one knew what really happened in that torture chamber, but they should have, because a girl whispered, "Help me," and the beast heard her. And 15 minutes later, all hell broke loose.